I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together. Hello, Superwomen. I have a special guest, friend, client. We're each other's clients. Kylie Larson, the founder of Elemental Coaching. Welcome, Kylie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to chat.
Me too. This is an overdue chat, I think.
It really is. Every time I think of something, I'm like, oh, it overlaps with Jordin's stuff so much.
Which we're going to talk about all the things today. As a bro science free zone.
Yes.
But there's a massive overlap between my work and Kylie's work, which is what we want to talk about today. And I want to start with the juicy stuff because that's
go. Go
But
deep
I mean,
fast.
are we going to go right into it?
I don't need a lot of foreplay for this.
Because you've worked with me.
Right, I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go. Juicy.
Our tanks are full over here. We are juicy. And we want you to be too. But no, I feel like we need a little bit of a backstory though. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning from when we met.
Wow.
And when we'll tell it like a story and we'll weave in all the things that we want to talk about. But what made you want to do my work? What attracted you?
Yeah, so this is right now I'm working with you again, right, for the second time. I found you through my friend Brianne Callanan. You guys are both Canadians. I don't know how you are connected, even if you still are, but that's how
we went to school together.
Oh my God, that makes total sense. Did you guys go to goddess school? Because both of you are like goddesses.
Yes, if you mean naturopathics medical school, goddess school, yes.
So that's how I found you. And I just was resonating with all of the things that you talk about. And I invited you on my podcast after I read your book, The Pink Canary, which like blew my mind. And I was at a point in my business where things were going really, really well, but it was kind of out of control. And I needed more of a feminine influence, I think.
I remember those days.
Yeah, I do masculine really well.
Superwoman, masculine, very, very well.
But I needed help. You know, when you just know you need help, that's when I initially started working with you.
And when we know that we want it done differently.
Yeah.
Because what we were doing wasn't working. And that's what I feel the same about your work. So what do you think? Because I think we have a pleasure problem and it's universal. And I think we have a pleasure problem when it comes to the way we do business. I think we have a pleasure problem when it comes to our intimate relationships. And I think we have a pleasure problem when it comes to our nutrition and exercising. So I've seen so many clients that I'm telling them to do less. And let's just talk about the lack of pleasure in your industry. Actually, firstly, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Great. So I simply stated, I help women figure out their nutrition and their fitness in order to improve their body composition. But that is not ever just a conversation about what to eat and how to train, because everyone's relationship with food is really involved, and we have to take a deeper look at that. There's a reason that you have these ideas about your body, about food, about fitness, and we have to re-examine those and really shift those. So while it seems like it's just nutrition and training, it's actually a lot of mindset and lifestyle. And just like you, Jordin, it's so funny everyone assumes I'm going to tell them, okay, do this and this and this and only eat this. No, we are always telling our clients that they need to do less and do it better. And that is the hardest thing. Our clients are the same. Is the hardest thing for super women to do is to do less.
Because I am telling it all the time. And especially earlier on in my career. And now I want to go more to experts like you that I know what you do. I know that we have the similarities in our foundation about how we approach things because I was constantly telling my clients who were high achieving women, like 35 to 55 for the most part, you need to work out less. The boot camp, 6 days per week. And yes, you can't lose a pound. Well, you need to do less. And they could not, like, it's like they couldn't compute it. Do you see that too?
100%. It does not compute. And I get it because it doesn't really make sense. Like you're telling me I'm going to actually start to lose weight if I do less, does not compute. So you kind of just have to trust. You have to trust. And like you have to get to that point. Like again, I started working with you again because I realized, okay, what you're doing is not working. You don't know what else to do. I need to trust somebody else. You have to trust that it's just going to work because yes. And also clearly what you're doing isn't working. So let's just try something new. It's already not working. The worst that'll happen is this also won't work, but it will.
I know. I love looking when you're starting with somebody new and they're looking at you like, what do you mean do less? It literally doesn't compute. But it's like, yeah, what you have done, and that's a similarity with both of our clients. What you have done for the last like decade or all of your life
Mhm.
hasn't worked. And the reason it hasn't worked is because it is founded, I would say, in bro science. And
Mhm.
like there's a lot of, men talking about women's bodies. And we just started researching women, like adding women to pharmaceutical trials and medical research.
Yeah.
There just started being laws around that in the 90s. Like this, it's new for us to even be included in the conversation. And I think there's nuance as to our stage of life. Like, so for me, the sex that you're having in perimenopause is very different than like when you were 20. Like your body's changed, you have changed, you've evolved. So therefore, what our desires are, what feels good, it has changed, it has evolved, and we need to do it. We can't keep expecting our body, our relationship to react and respond like it did when we were 20. And it's the same with exercise, I
Yes.
find, and nutrition.
Yes. Yes. Well, and there's that masculinity also that we bring to it ourselves. Like women just wanting to just work so hard in this like no days off mentality and go hard or go home. It just screams masculinity. And it should feel good. Like what you're doing should feel good. It doesn't mean it's always easy, but it should feel good, not terrible. Like a lot of women, they're dreading their workouts, but they still feel like they have to. Like that's a good sign that you should not be doing that anymore.
Yeah, not if it doesn't feel good, we need to update it. This is the pleasure
Yes.
problem. And we
Yeah.
mean this about sex. If you're
Mhm.
not enjoying the sex you're having, we need an update. If you're not enjoying the workouts that you're doing, I had a client I'll never forget. She would run like an hour a day, 7 days a week, perimenopausal, couldn't lose a pound, exhausted, crusty. Like it's mine and yours ideal client, like all in one. Tons of career success. Accountant, ran like a massive firm, but just like, and I said to her, do you even enjoy running? And she
Mm.
didn't. She didn't enjoy running at all. It was what she thought she had to do to burn calories. So when we have the have do's and shoulds,
Yeah.
well, it speaks to, in my opinion, we're masculine in our approach, and we're also very much like policing ourselves. So, talk to me about that because I do like this about your approach. And a lot of my clients have a history of disordered eating. So, they can find like tracking and things very triggering for them when
Yes.
really what we want is to feel good. But tell me, did that come up with your clients? Kind of how do you handle
Yeah.
that?
The policing feels a lot, I feel like that applies a lot to the nutrition side of things because again, I do love tracking macronutrients. I love clients tracking macronutrients for a period of time. But then if you can't step away from it, if you can't trust yourself to eat without that, then I feel like you're in a place where you're constantly policing yourself. Even if you're eating enough, even if you're not under eating, you're still not trusting yourself. And you have to have this information in order to make the decisions. But you need to be able to trust yourself. Again, that's more of a feminine quality, right? But policing, oh, I ate this, so then I have to do that. I ate this, so I can't have that. I can only eat all these like rules that we put on ourselves. I don't eat carbohydrates. I don't eat
No
after this
gluten.
time, no gluten, no dairy. And when there's no issues there, yeah, I see
Yeah,
that.
and we're not talking about like when you are celiac, or I have
Yes.
clients that do truly feel amazing gluten free. Their
Mhm.
brain fog is gone. Their joints don't hurt anymore. And these are often clients with like autoimmune issues. But then there's a direct, like they know that if they eat gluten, they will not feel well. So it is pleasurable for them to not.
It's not a prison that you've put yourself in. That's actually freedom for
Yeah,
you.
it's not about reward and punishment. And I find we're in that loop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, especially like my friend Alejandra, my coach Alejandra, who works for me, she just posted something today. Exercise for the way it makes you feel, not to burn off something that you ate, not to punish yourself. And there is a lot of that going on. I don't see it so much with my clients because we fix that pretty quick in the equation, but I see it a lot in the ethos for sure.
Yes. And even on social, right, with
Oh,
other people talking about it. And yeah, I feel like I don't want to see a man talking about like perimenopausal women and what they
I
should do for exercise. Or I'm,
No, I hate it too. And I try and be like, okay, and you don't have to be that person in order to coach that person, but there's a huge disconnect with that, a real big disconnect.
if they haven't felt it or experienced it. And also, like, I've coached men, I've had men like want my coaching, but I will always be prefacing it of, and I don't have a penis. Like, I'm not male identifying, so I can teach you theory, but I can't fully understand this experience because,
Right. Even last year, I have a coach who does my programming for me. And last year, looking back, you know how you don't realize how bad you were feeling until you're out of it? And you're like,
yes,
and I was trying to express to him, like, I'm just not feeling it. I just, whatever. And he's like, yeah, just, you'll get through this. I'm
do
like,
it
no, you
anyway.
don't understand. You don't understand what I'm dealing with because you're not going through what I'm going through. Yeah, you might be a business owner, but you have a wife at home that is helping you cook your meals. You have a wife at home who is watching your toddler while you're making your podcasts. I don't have a wife at home. I'm doing all those things. And like there was this huge disconnect. And I was like, you're not getting this, are you? Okay.
No. And that's the feminine burnout fog, I
Yeah.
find, when we're just like numb, or we're just off. We know something's not right. And yes, we need to take advice from people that understand. So, speaking of perimenopause,
Yeah.
because I know
Ooh.
there's be a lot of perimenopause ladies listening, how should we approach training differently?
So this is a great question. And it really is that less is better here. All of the high intensity stuff isn't serving us the way that we thought it was serving us or what we could get away with when we were in our 20s and our early 30s. That's why I'm a huge fan of strength training in perimenopause or some form of progressive overload training where you're progressively increasing your strength as you go throughout your program. This doesn't mean everyone is lifting super heavy weights. You could progress from body weight to exercise bands to dumbbells at your house, but that's going to suit you best because at this time in our life, focusing on building muscle is going to make your perimenopause experience a lot. Well, everyone's is going to be easy, is going to be different, but potentially having more muscle on your frame is going to make your perimenopause transition a little bit easier, and it's less stress on your system. Now, and the other thing about strength training is it's the perfect kind of stress, right? We want to complete the stress cycle. We don't want to be in chronic stress. We want to have a stressor and then we want to recover from it. That's how we get stronger. And that's what strength training is. You're building your resilience. So that is why I recommend strength training and walking for perimenopausal women. There is one form of high intensity training that I'm a huge fan of, and it's called sprint training, but it also mimics the intensity of strength training. So you go all out, all effort for like 20 seconds, because you can't go any longer than that if you're doing it. And then you have like 2 minutes to recover, and then you do it again. So that's the right dose of the stress that you want. So it's different. Like, it's not like your Orange Theory, your F45, your boot camp classes that call it high intensity interval training because they bastardized what high intensity interval training is. That's working really hard in this like gray zone for like 45 minutes. You can't work as hard as you can work for longer than 30 seconds. Just go try it. Just try and do something as hard as you can for longer than 30 seconds. You cannot do it. And that's what you want to be doing in perimenopause.
And when we are already yin deficient,
Yes.
because that is what perimenopause is, and it is showing up in, us hormonally, our mood, our bodies, digestion, like literally all of it, which yin deficiency is feminine burnout. So everyone listening fully knows that what feminine burnout is. Feminine burnout is what I started to notice. And this is a special kind of burnout. This is not how people talk about burnout, what you see online. This is neither Kylie or I. We're not about the surface way or the regular way because we know it doesn't work. Our clients have tried it and it doesn't work. They need a new way, a new approach. So feminine burnout is when you just don't feel like yourself. You're not as happy as you used to be. You are snapping at your loved ones. So we've got this like mental, emotional, you're like more anxious, you're more reactive, that mental, emotional piece. We also have physical symptoms. So this could be night sweats. This could be adult acne. This could be hormonal changes. So you're noticing changes in your period. They could be crazy heavy, not regular anymore. Weight gain, weight that is very challenging for you to take off. We just explained how you should not be doing, Orange Theory 6 days a week and expecting to lose weight because it will not work when you have feminine burnout or yin deficiency. And then the other piece to this I find is that feminine burnout starts to affect our relationships and how we're interacting with those that we love, which, yeah, is not very good when we are in fight or flight. We are not at our best when
No.
we are burned, when we are experiencing feminine burnout. We don't want to be touched. We got a big desire mismatch in our relationship, lots of crustiness, snippiness. So I've gone through several phases of feminine burnout in my life. One during med school, one opening my business, one kind of like postpartum abusive relationship. And I was really not working out. I was doing yoga a couple times a week, but I really felt like it was all that I could do to, like, I needed to move my body, and body weight was all that I could do. I was so drained. My pleasure tank was so empty that I couldn't. Okay, excuse me. I could have put the mental willpower in to get myself to a boot camp class 6 days a week. I totally could have done it, but I knew that that would be adding more cortisol dysregulation, more nerve. Like my body already was in fight or flight. It needed to rest and restore, not add cortisol dysfunction and inflammation, because muscle building is an inflammatory process. So if I'm already inflamed because my body is under attack, I'm not going to be I'm going to be intentional about where I'm at, which is also why you should be hiring professionals like Kylie to help you know where you're at and what's next. So I recently started when I knew I had done my healing work. I was taking my own medicine here, my own prescriptions, doing the work right along with you guys in the mentorship to, you know, fill my tank out up, get myself out of burnout. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to lift weights again. Kylie, can you help me? And it's so funny because I'm kind of in that, and maybe we can talk about this part. And when I was burnt out, I had no appetite, had
Mm.
to force myself to eat, right? And when we're in fight or flight, it makes sense. Our body's surviving. And what that would look like was a lot of me forgetting to eat or forcing myself to eat one meal a day. And really, when you're in that state, you want easily digestible carbs. You don't really want protein in
You don't want to
fiber.
do. It's just another job.
Yeah, which is harder for our to digest. And we know if we're in fight or flight and we are not in rest and digest, we're not going to digest well. We're not going to make healthy eating choices. We're also not going to like want to have sex at that point because our body's busy doing other things. So then I reached out to you and wanted to do elemental coaching, which I am loving, by the way.
Hey, good.
And I'll be honest, I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to throughout the summer months, but I'm it's in my calendar
I
for
love it.
my workouts this week or for the month, and I'm feeling good now that it's back to school.
Well, and like that's a little bit goes a long way, right? And I think as super women, they're used to when they see something, they're like, well, I have to follow it perfectly. But also, you don't. Just do what you can. And that's a huge shift for a lot of people.
Yes. And that's why I reached out to you to say, like, look, I want to keep my yoga one day a week because I love the mobility. I leave yoga no matter what is going on. I leave yoga feeling restored and full. You know what
Yeah.
I'm like? It feels good. I am in my parasympathetic nervous state. I'm in rest and digest leaving yoga. And it just, for me, mentally and emotionally, it's super helpful. So I was like, I want to keep that, what do you think? And you were able to just tell me what to do with the program,
Yeah.
which it's modifiable. And I love that.
It's great. And it's like, do you feel that it's draining you when you do it?
No. And that's what I want. I thank you for saying that because I wanted to say, like, I am in a place that I go, I do my workout and I leave and my tank is fuller. And that's the point,
Yep. And
feeling
I think
good. So no, I don't feel drained at all.
I think that's where there's this disconnect that we have. I'm sure it crosses both sex, but we think that we should feel exhausted and just so sweaty and dead on the floor after a workout, but that's not the case at all. Your workout should actually give you energy. Like you can go do a strength training workout. I could go right now and do my workout, and I could come back and do another podcast, and nobody would know that I did anything. Like it's not hard in the way that you think it's going to be hard. It doesn't have to always be hard all the time.
And
It
I
should
love that. And
always
I
be hard all the
No,
time.
it shouldn't. And I've done enough work with myself and, coaching people over the years to know, like, I used to go to the gym and I used to train that it would be painful for me to like lift my arms and wash my hair after. That's how I used to train. And like, no, thank you. Not available for that anymore.
Oh,
I don't need my workouts to be draining my tank, to be making me more yin deficient, to be making me have more burnout. There's enough factors that I can't control that are doing that.
well, see, that's so funny because that's exactly why I knew I needed to work with you again. I was like, okay, Kylie, you have found ease and flow with your workouts and nutrition. And I think everything is related. Okay, you have shown yourself it is possible here. It's got to be possible in this business aspect of your life. It's got to be. And that's one of the reasons I started working with Jordin again, is with you again, is because like I knew that more work, harder work was not going to get me what I wanted. It was making my business tank.
And
It
it's
was bang
been
my head
so,
against the wall.
yeah, and it's been so lovely to watch you and how, you've grown, how that's changed things for you in your personal life, but also just like to watch that spark come back and that light in you. Because when you got on that call, like before the mentorship, it was like, whoa, where's Kylie?
Yeah. And like I even knew that. You were talking about the whole feminine burnout, and it wasn't just affecting me. It was affecting everyone in my life. Like it was a year ago this week I took my called it my silent retreat to Las Vegas because I just had enough. I was just over it. I was over everything and everyone, including the people that I supposedly love that live in my house. And I was like, when school starts, I'm leaving and you're not coming and you're not coming. And so I took myself to Las Vegas and I just had like this 2 day silent retreat that I needed so bad. But like in that moment, that's not me. That is not me. I was snapping. I was short. I mean, it was not, I'm not proud of my behavior. But I mean, if I'm not
Oh,
happy,
we
I don't want
never
anyone
are.
else to be happy either. I'm going to make your life a living hell too.
Well, but we take it out on the people closest to us.
Not cool.
No, no. And that's what I call crusty. And when our tanks are empty and we're crusty, it's like, look out. And even when people are trying with us, like our loved ones are trying with us, or the people that we employ are trying to help, like we'll snap at them, which it's this horrible, it's the pleasure problem. Because at that point, we have so little left to give that even if people are pouring into us, it leaks right out again because we haven't fixed the root of the problem.
Well, I was telling you this morning when I was texting with you, I was on a walk with my friend and I was telling her about my work with you and all of this stuff. And she was like, well, what is she helping you with? Because it's hard, let's be honest, it can be hard to describe sometimes, right? Well, is she a sex coach? I don't get it. Like, no, it's
I
not just
well, but
about
no, but
yoga.
thank you for these questions because this is what I'm trying to figure out how to communicate because every woman, like name me a woman that doesn't need this work.
I can't name a woman. Like, if you're listening to this and you're not working with Dr. Jordin, I know that you need to be. Blanket
It,
statement.
it's true.
It is
Same
true.
with same with Kylie's elemental coaching.
Thank you. So I'm telling Nicole, I was like, well, I'm learning how to receive because again, you're so deficient. You are so burnt out. How do you open yourself up to receive so that you can start to balance these things out? And that window of tolerance that you talk about? That was my other really big takeaway. Okay, all this shitty stuff is happening. It's not going to not happen. So how can I like put my armor on so I can deal with this stuff? I got to fill up. I have to let other people pour into me. I got to find things that make me happy, that give me pleasure. And it's working.
And what are some of the things that you found?
Well, so my happy place is the pool. Like I am a slut for the pool. I would do anything for the pool.
And we have very many shots of Kylie looking real cute in her bikinis by the pool. And see, it's a pleasure begets pleasure kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is you are working on your pleasure and you're there and it feels amazing. And you text the group chat when you're in that energy. And
Yeah.
then now we are all more filled up and then you record a video for your clients in that energy and then they're filled up. So it's this once we start to change from lack and we learn how to receive, then it's this overflow, which I
Yeah.
love because it's so
Yeah.
good.
It feeds into itself. So that was the biggest thing. And so I had to, but in order to do that, I had to say, okay, it's okay to do less work this summer because I could have kept going. As an entrepreneur, your work is never done. So you have to draw the line and say, I'm done for the day. So that's a silly thing, but it's not silly to me because it truly is what makes me so darn happy. That is my happy place. But then also like a daily pleasure practice, which it hasn't been super daily, but it has been mostly daily. And I would say 80% of the time. And so, yes, it means exactly what you think it means.
We're having just lots of orgasms over here.
Lots of
Well,
orgasm.
and nothing fills a pleasure tank like an orgasm.
No, that's what I'm learning. I didn't know that. I just heard this myth, right? I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
where'd you
listening
get
to
that idea?
no, right? I'm just listening to Dr. Jordin talk about this stuff, and I'm like, that's just crazy enough. It might work. And I think I
But
told you that. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, you go.
I think I told you this, like at the beginning of the year, you were asking clients, like, what are your pleasure goals for the year? And someone in the little question box typed an orgasm every day. And I was like, I like that. I'm gonna steal that one. What would happen if? Because I hear this message isn't only coming from you. I have another friend who has a similar philosophy. And I was like, these two people who I love can't possibly both be wrong.
We can't be wrong.
Can't be wrong. So my therapist says that might be the one thing, to be honest with you. I know you love my therapist.
I love your therapist. She's
I know
amazing.
she is amazing. She's on a very similar journey. And so she has said, Kylie, that might be the one thing. So those two, I think those two things combined, and also like going for walks, but without any external stimuli coming in, just that quiet time and really enjoying that time. And I'll see other people you have to keep your eyes on your own paper. I'll see other ladies on their walks and they're going a little faster, right? They're clearly out there getting their steps in before their meetings and all this stuff. And I have this tendency, oh, I might need to pick up the pace. She's probably thinking I'm like a slow walker.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm a
I'm
slow
worried about
walker.
what other people think. Yeah. And
Yes.
also, if you're the picking up the pace walk person, you're probably also listening to this podcast on like 1.25 speed or 1.5 speed, which used to be me.
Got their bala bands on and they're
Yes.
pumping their arms. It's like must multitask, must
Yeah.
multitask. And I'm laughing, like where I'm not making fun of you. I was that person. Like,
Same. Same. And
but it
then the
weirded me
question
the fuck
becomes,
out. So
yeah, how's your pussy? How's your, how empty is your tank? How yin deficient are you? And then because once you're not that way, and that's I used to be such a tight ass literally that I had to go to a pelvic floor physiotherapist because my pelvic floor was so hypertonic. Like it was an actual physical manifestation of my
yeah.
feminine burnout was pelvic pain. That's how much of a tight ass I was. And now I joke about it, but at the time that wasn't fun. It was
No,
awful.
it's awful. It's awful. But you can like see it. And back to so those are the things I'm doing to fill up my pleasure tank. And I'm nervous, to be honest with you, Jordin. Things are getting busier again. And everyone is enlightened at the top of the mountain, as they say, but we don't live at the top of the mountain. So now that I'm making my trek from the summer that is the top of the mountain, I'm faced with challenges, but I'm committed to still doing these things because I know what happens if I don't.
And this is where we have the parallels with the work that we do because we've been trained to think the opposite, trained to be like super masculine, rigid, check the boxes, do what we should, give it our all. And like if it's all or nothing. But
Mm-hmm.
when we do pleasure first, and this is pleasure in our pleasure practices. And if you are new to my work, like it is, we did not start like this, Kylie. Like it wasn't an orgasm a day was not the starting
Not
goal.
say the P word. Now I do all the goddamn time.
And it's just so liberating. Yeah.
So liberating.
th- the women walking fast by us are like silent. They're like, oh, like they're kind of judging, but they're also sort of want to lean in. When it's like you're light and airy and you're looking cute in your suit by the pool and your husband's smacking your butt, like it's, they're like, they're judging, but they also secretly want
They want it.
what you have. the orgasm power. Back to what I was saying, when we are so rigid and we think, oh, I need to get the to-do list done first, and then I'll focus on pleasure, or I need to get in all these extra reps, like we're doing it wrong. This is the pleasure problem. And that is what I'm realizing that I help women solve so they can be as happy in their personal lives and have as much like success and joy and fulfillment in their personal lives as they do in their careers, really, in the other areas of they're usually like they're killing it in career. That's amazing. Or, they've got success in other areas, but just they're not happy. And it's
No.
the same with working out. Like I finish a workout, one of your workouts, and I'm like, I am ready to take on my damn day. I'm excited.
And if you are checking off all the boxes, like, well, gosh, I'm hitting my macros, I've been doing these workouts, I'm doing all these things, and I'm not getting the results that I want, that's when it's really not a matter of harder and faster and better and all of that stuff. It's, are you enjoying any of this? Or are you just doing it because you think you should, because you think you have to, and you just have to trust?
Yeah, I have had some clients where it's like nothing's working, I'm not getting the result, but they've lost the focus on pleasure and feeling good. Because I think feeling good in your body, feeling light, feeling fulfilled,
Mhm.
that is what our North Star should be.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a size or it's
Salary. I see that too. It's like, I think that if you feel good in your body, not saying it looks a certain way, but if you feel good in your own skin, you're not seeking those external things quite so much that so many people, we're talking to women, so many women are working so hard for. Like they're not important. And we all have different things that we're into, right? And that's cool. But like you don't need that fancy bag or that whatever. It's to be a status symbol. Like you feeling good is that is the biggest status symbol you could ever have.
it's yeah, how's your pussy first? If you are
Exactly.
fulfilled and I'm not knocking the bag. You want the bag, you want the card. Like I am hell yes. I am there for that all day long. But it's when it's the receiving problem, right? You've got the bag and then it's like you love it for a week or a month, but then it's gone. Like the rush of the bag is gone because that's not actually what you wanted. It wasn't actually what you desired. Being full, having excess, being able to do less,
Yeah.
knowing what you desire, knowing what's going to make you feel good in your eating, in your workouts, in your relationship, how to make yourself feel good. When
Yeah.
was the last time we explored that? Like never.
Never.
We were never given permission to
Don't do
explore
that. You were
ourselves.
told not to do that.
Right. It was the opposite. It was like, that's bad. And you're all these awful names. And then we want to be happy and fulfilled when we don't even know how to have like massive orgasms.
Yeah. And how can you possibly, like, you're looking for all that stuff from the exterior, but it's like Ziggy says, right? Happiness is an inside job. And so your partner can't know what to give you if you don't know what to give yourself. That's what I found. That's really the hardest part for me.
I know. And we come in being like, oh, it's the relationship or it's my partner and he's not doing this and he's not planning date nights and everything. And it's like, we need to, like, we got to go internal. We got to clean up our side of the street, which is like so frustrating because most of us have been over giving so much. It's like, wait, you're telling me I've got to do one thing? But yeah, if we want to end up looking cute by the pool, having the best summer, and I'm gonna love watching this next season for you and how you're applying the tools that you have to the busier season.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be challenging, to be honest with you. Like on last Thursday, all these like messages started coming in with people that need. And I was like, I can't deal with this right now. Where's my
Well, I
vibrator?
need the vibrator and the pool.
Exactly. I'll get back to you later.
Yeah.
We need
Well,
to do
and I
today.
think it's what's going to give you that pool vibe in the winter.
But you had said something really interesting, like that word enough, right? And that's another parallel. So my big thing is getting women to eat enough because most women have never eaten enough. They've underate and they've overate, but they've never eaten the Goldilocks amount. And I just noticed how women struggle so much with that. I'm never enough. But when I do eat enough, it feels like too much. And so it's like they don't know what enough feels like, or when they act like they're enough, it's too much for other people, or they're afraid of being too much. It's just this, it's the same thing in a different area.
I love it. And with sex, with fullness, the feminine
Right.
is to be full, like full of emotion, like fully expressing emotion. But we're told, oh no, like don't do that. Don't have big feelings. Just like smile and be happy and make everyone else feel good, which is like the opposite of our natural state of being.
The opposite of being full, deprive, deprive, deprive. How can you not be burnt out?
And the pendulum always swings because then
Yeah.
that leads to binging
Right.
and like we're seeking fulfillment in other areas, when if we had sustenance and like we learn to feel good and learn to feel full instead of running from it, because that's how I feel like we've been most disconnected from our power.
Running from feeling full or good.
Mhm. Yes.
Mm.
We do the opposite, and that's half the stuff that I'm coaching you through with the mentorship,
It's
like
so
to
true.
allow yourself to feel good.
Yeah. And that's why I hate those conversations of that are really like disempowering when talking about perimenopause is such a drag. I mean, yeah, it's a drag, but it can be. It doesn't have to be. It it's gonna happen. So we might as well feel empowered through it because you're not escaping it. Like, let's not talk about how horrible it is all the time and let's learn how to deal with it. How can we feel good in perimenopause? Like, there's a challenge.
And I think it's even just giving ourselves permission for pleasure, giving
Yeah.
ourselves permission for orgasms, which we know there's a million health benefits for, like
Right.
better immune function, less pain, glowing skin,
Stronger
better
pelvic floor.
mood, better self esteem. Like, but yet the thought of having an orgasm is like, oh, like that's frivolous or not something I would do. But it's like,
We're
how
like, I can't
not?
even believe they're talking
Everything's
about that right now.
right. Everything's better if we're full, if we're feeling good. An orgasm is very fulfilling on
Yes.
many, many physiologic, emotional levels, but yet we are depriving ourselves of it.
Yes, we're just depriving ourselves across the board.
So I think that is our take home message for the day. Well, I've got a couple. When you have tried and tried and tried and not gotten the result that you want, because we know both of our clients are high achieving women. They've done the work. They're not adverse to doing the work. They don't need to be activated. So when you're trying and you're not getting the result, you got to change something up. And having a coach, having mentorship is one of the best ways to do that. Somebody that you trust. And the other part that I would love for everyone to know and take home is that it's our aversion to pleasure. It's our aversion to feeling good. The fact that we think we need to starve ourselves, the fact that we think we have to work out to, until we can't move and we're so sore the next day. If we made pleasure our grounding focus, we turned on the pleasure centers in our brain. And I am not just talking orgasm. I'm talking like if sitting out in the sun by the pool is your happy place and it fills you up and you feel good, that is a pleasure practice. So if we take pleasure in how we're eating because of how it makes us feel and how we are exercising and how we're showing up in our businesses and our relationships with the people closest to us, like focusing on pleasure first, that is what I think is missing.
And I think it's going to take, remember the first time you were on my podcast, one of my clients, Morgan, she's one of my clients, she put the words together, pleasure revolution, like all together, pleasure revolution. And I feel like that's what it takes. It because this is a brave thing to do. This is counter culture, right? To prioritize pleasure, that's a punk rock thing. And
I
like
like
you're
it.
getting out of like that good girl grooming, she's not serving us anymore.
No, good
No.
girl conditioning, superwoman conditioning, it got us to feel exactly how we're feeling now.
Truly. You're signing up for all these things, you're volunteering because that's what the good girl would do. Like, stop. Punk rock pleasure.
Punk, orgasm a day. Well, Kylie, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everyone how they can find you.
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Instagram. My handle is at the Kylie Larson. And yeah, everything else is easy to find from there.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing so openly. Thank you so much for coming.
I know. I was hoping you were gonna say that. I was hoping so. Now we can talk about these things. Like a year ago, I never would have said any of that stuff out loud.
And here she is
Here I
on
am.
a top global podcast talking about it, which is also why I am bringing Kylie in as one of the experts for the mentorship next year, for one of the women's health experts, because we are all about the full transformation, fullness, full tanks, all the pleasure, pleasure revolution. Here we come.
So much more fun over here on this side.
Yeah, take it from us. We're walking slow. We're sitting by the pool. We're like reverse aging with the number of orgasms we're having.
Yes, it's true. Come sit with us.
Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.